Hi, I'm Jo Parfitt and I'm the founder of Career in Your Suitcase. It all happened a long time ago. It was about 1995 or 6 when I was living in Norway. I was living in Stavanger in Norway, and I was at a women's networking meeting and I was telling somebody what I'd been doing all my expat life, and they said to me, "What an amazing career you've had. Would you like to come and do a talk on your portable career?" Portable career, I thought, have I got a portable career? I was absolutely terrified about doing that talk. And I remember that I ended up wearing a bright red Bedouin lady's outfit in order to do the talk, just to make sure I was memorable. Anyway, I did the talk that day, and people were really impressed by the way that I had managed to keep my career alive while I'd been overseas. I'd lived in Dubai and Oman before Norway. I'd had 2 kids. I'd even had a stamp in my passport at one time that said not permitted to work. And yet I had managed to keep my career alive. Before I'd started as an expat wife, I had been running my own computer writing and training business, teaching people to use word processing programs and writing books and writing a few articles. But by the time I came out the other side, I was still teaching word processing. I was running a CV writing service. I'd become a freelance journalist. I was running a writer's circle. I had become an expert in dates and had started to publish my own books. I'd published my first book in 1995 called Dates, a co-authored cookbook. And I'd done all sorts of things. I had expanded from just teaching word processing to teaching spreadsheets and desktop publishing, and I'd even started to teach writing. And I had kept on recycling myself and redefining myself. And it was that day when I stood on the podium in Stavanger and started to tell people about my portable career and noticed the audience were really interested, that I had perhaps hit on something, and that maybe I was unusual because I had managed to keep on recycling myself, reinventing myself, adjusting my skills, fitting what I did to the local environment. And although deep down my story was still the same, I was still a writer, I was still interested in teaching, I still wanted to do things with my words and communicate. It had shifted subtly depending on which country I was in and what stage of life I was in, depending on whether I had no kids, a baby, or young kids. It was at one of those WIN meetings that I met another expat called Elizabeth Douay. Elizabeth Douay was an American, bilingual, married to a Frenchman. She was also a journalist. And it was around that time that the title Career in Your Suitcase came up to me. But I felt scared. I felt that I wasn't really going to be able to do anything with Career in Your Suitcase. So I thought I could write a book, but I didn't feel I had the skills, I didn't feel I had the networks. And it was Elizabeth Douay who said, well, let's do it together. And although very few of her words appear in the final book, which came out in 1998 and was the first of the 4 editions we now have of Career in Your Suitcase, she was there as my buddy. She was there as somebody to brainstorm with. She was somebody I was answerable to. She was somebody who kept me on track. I've always believed that 1 + 1 equals a lot more than 2. And I understood then that my story was important, even though to me all I'd been doing was keeping myself a bit active, keeping my professional identity alive while I'd been overseas. I had kept on being myself. And my story had evolved, and by the time I left Norway, Career in Your Suitcase was born as a workshop. A year later, it became the first book. And today, as you know, it's becoming a whole movement thanks to my later collaboration with Canadian Colleen Rycross-Smith. So for me, Career in Your Suitcase is all about my story, a shifting story, and it's also that I'm not alone. But it's much better when you do it with somebody else.